40 of the Hip Hop Orchestra Presents, and I can't actually lie, I'm really nervous about today's episode because I'm actually starstruck. I'm actually talking to the co-founder and cellist of the most successful string quartet of all time, Gay-Yee Westerhoff. Gay-Yee is absolutely on time on the podcast. Thank you. How
what
are
a beautiful intro.
Oh, I think I'm used to it
really
now.
good, thank you.
Good. So glad to hear that. I'm so used to it right now. So, like, I'm really nervous.
Oh, don't be.
Oh, I
Be
can't help it.
so relaxed.
I will be. Don't worry. But how are you though?
I'm very good.
Good.
Yeah.
You've been keeping busy at the moment.
I have been really busy doing really odd things. Yeah. So, and it's weird things because all the things that I would normally be doing, I'm not doing.
Of course.
And then I've been doing really weird things like helping. My father-in-law has got has a radio show on Radio 2.
Oh, really?
And he's been recording that from home, and I've been helping him record it and just doing really weird things like that. And, you know.
How have you finding that? It's been okay for you?
Yeah, all good.
Good.
So,
What's that BBC Radio 2 then? What kind of things are you doing there at the moment?
well, no, I've just been helping. It's not me.
Just helping
it's
it.
my
Okay, your
father-in-law.
father-in-law,
He has
yeah.
his show, but I've turned out into like helping record it and all stuff like that. And stuff that I don't normally do.
Have you learned a lot then during your time doing that?
It was within my realm of knowledge.
Oh, good. Good. But you know what? I was saying before the podcast actually that obviously I've known about you for years. I've been a big fan of yours for so many years now.
Can't believe it.
I can't believe it. And you still look as young as you do now than you did back then. So you look younger than me.
It's because I've got that thing on Zoom that look makes your appearance better.
No, you look amazing. But it's such a weird feeling, obviously, to be a big fan of yours, but have the chance to actually speak to you now and just catch up and go through your journey. So it's been amazing. So once again, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. It means so much to me. Thank you. But you know what? Before we get into the craziness and the madness that is Bond and amazingness, I always love to ask my guests kind of how they started in their journeys within music. So for you, how did you start in your journey within music?
Well, my journey started. Well, I was brought up in Hull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so it started there.
Mm-hmm.
So weirdly, it was weird being, I was the only one that had music lessons at school.
Oh, really?
So I think I went to quite a rough school. It was like, and it was weird. And it was at that time, kids had the government, the local council, and paid for music lessons for kids, mm-hmm. and gave you an instrument and stuff like that. And that's how I started. At this like council estate school. That would never have happened. Obviously no one else really took it up. So, and then there was me having cello lessons, and I started quite late. I was about like 11, 12, where you see a lot of musicians, there's like, I started when I was 4 years old, and all that sort of thing. And I started really late in comparison, and then I just took to it. And I remember doing like a grade exam every term. Well, I just went,
wow.
And it was weird because in this sort of council estate school, everyone was in Hull, everyone thought it was really posh because I was having cello lessons and piano lessons and stuff like that. But thank goodness I was able to have those lessons. Like all that stuff's gone now, which is a crying shame for all children in all different types of school. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I started there, and kept going, and I was like joined youth orchestras and did chamber music. All the facilities were there for me to embrace, which I did. And then when I was about 15, I started playing in like local bands in Hull. So I had the classical side of the lessons, and it was all very serious. And I got a scholarship to go to London for lessons, and I used to get the train was all a big, every
Yeah.
weekend and all that. And then I'd come back, and then like when I was 15, when you go, I used to sneak into clubs and all that stuff, and I just started playing with bands and lying. I must have had I had huge balls when I was
Yeah.
15. Because then I just remember like saying, yeah, I can play bass. Yeah, yeah, and all that. And then suddenly I was like playing. So I was gaining loads of experience in lots of different areas of music. Like I remember playing in a thrash band in on the cello, like going.
Wow. That's next level, that is.
Yeah, I should start one up actually. It was quite good. um, yeah, and stuff like that. And I was just eating it all up, all types of music, and just like,
Yeah.
And then I went to music college, and that love of all different types of music kept going. And when I got to London, it was like, what a feast. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah, of
mean? Like
course.
everything
Yeah.
that was going on, different scenes. And I remember I used to go to like jam sessions and all different, just loads of different stuff. It was great. And then that's basically how, and I remember at college, I went to Trinity
Trinity,
College.
yeah.
Yeah. And my teachers were like, some teachers were like, oh, that's going to ruin your technique. And, because I used to play double bass as well.
Oh, wow.
And as a female double bass player, I used to get a bit of work because I think people go,
Yeah.
let's have the lady, and
Yeah.
things like that. And anyway, so they made me give that up because they said it would ruin my cello technique. So you've got all these things battling.
Yeah.
And anyway, but I didn't listen to any of them,
Good.
thankfully. And then while I was at college, I was doing things like Top of the Pops and doing sessions and playing with other people and stuff like that. And the teachers used to go like, well, Gay-Yee's doing light music, and as if it was going to harm me. And it was all like, and I'd kind of get into trouble a bit, and then I'd be like, but this is what I want to do, and I'm earning money, and
Good.
all
Yeah.
that, just constant battling. So anyway, and then eventually, so I was doing sessions and stuff like that, and I left college. And I was like scraping by, I don't know, 1 minute was all right, next minute was completely skinned.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I was on tour with, as you are in that sort of scene. And then I went on tour with Vanessa Mae, this violinist.
I know.
I don't know
Yes,
if you,
amazing. Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
and then that's how Bond started. So, because we had the same manager, and he kind of like, he sort of invested in us to get 4 demos together. And it was it was the good old days, really, because we had 4 songs and we did a showcase with only 4 songs, and we had all it was like EMI, Universal, blah, blah, blah. And we signed this amazing record deal. It was just, no one had done this before, and there was nothing else around. It was just in the right place at the right time. And we were all, to be honest, thinking, oh, this is not going to work, is it? It's a bit, and then it just took off. So,
That's incredible.
And then we never looked back.
Of course not. And now look what's happened. Like the most successful quartet of all time. I mean, just looking through the repertoire, things like your highlights you've done now, and is beyond incredible. Like beyond incredible, so inspirational as well. And I want to ask, I'd like to ask you as well about that tour with Vanessa Mae as well, because obviously you work with her, Spice Girls, Bryan Adams. Like so many people
that's my Wikipedia, isn't it? Which is 1 year of my life.
Oh,
that
wow,
Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
I don't know who's done it, but it's like 1 year.
Just 1 year.
I've done other things, yeah.
And of course I know you have, but that's the one thing I want to talk about as well. But I obviously look at the website as well. Obviously I've known about you for years, but what was that tour like with Vanessa Mae for you?
Oh, it was great. It was wild.
Good.
It was wild.
Good.
No, it was good. And because I'd never really, I don't think I'd really been on a proper tour. So it was I've got to say, it was a scream. Yeah. So
was it quite overwhelming at first as your first tour, or did you kind of soak it all in as you're going along?
No, I just was lapping it all up,
Good.
So, and I remember unusually I was at the front of the string section, which is unusual for a cellist. because it's just violins, blah de blah,
Yeah.
cellos at the back or whatever.
Mhm.
And I just remember like rocking out and sort of, I think this is what all led to Bond,
Yeah,
possibly. Do you know what I mean?
of course.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I think, well, I hope she doesn't listen. And then at some point in the tour, it was like, bitch better get to the back. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So then I had to go. I was like going a bit too wild, and I think she needs to go behind, because I'm the string player here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how did that make you feel then? Like you quite wanted to show off a little
Oh,
bit
I
your
didn't
talent.
care.
You didn't care. Oh,
I
that,
didn't. No, I didn't care. I was like, well, I'll just do it. I'll do my stuff at the back.
yeah. Well, there we go. And so it was that moment where Bond was kind of made. I mean, did you kind of meet the other members through that tour, or did you know them beforehand or
No,
after? How?
well, it wasn't through that tour. Bond was two groups of friends.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so basically, that we all kind of came together at the right time, and yeah, it just all happened really quick.
Mm,
So, but it was like the two Aussies were friends, and they both
yeah.
went to Guildhall, and then me and Eos, we'd met previously on the session scene and all that sort of thing. We all got like mutual friends and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And what was the kind of initial idea when you first started Bond? Like, what was your kind of goals and targets when you first started?
It
Like,
was
what was
weird.
that
It
kind
was
of
like an
change that
unknown
perception?
thing, because the guy who paid for our demos, helped us get them together. He had this idea in his head, so he was like, oh, I'd really love it if you did this track, and it was a bit sort of how can I put it, I don't know, it was just basically, no one knew. We didn't have we were just open to everything. I remember like working out what we were going to put on the album, and we were all like throwing in ideas of classical things and non-classical things, and yeah, I don't know. We worked with this producer called Magnus Fines,
Hmm.
and he just kind of melded it all together, and we had this great arranger, and there was a lot of money. We were lucky because there was a lot of money thrown at it,
Of course,
which
yeah.
always helps, for the slickness. And we had all these amazing players come on it, all this, like, we've flown in these flamenco artists, and this, that there was this folk singer called Marta Sebastian, all sorts of people. And we had this percussionist Hossam Ramsey, and there was just like all random eclectic and ethnic things, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and I'm really pleased, that I've got to experience, like, do you know what I mean, like all
Mm,
levels of, there's the type of recordings that I've done where you've done it at home in your home studio, and it's like rough and ready, and
mm,
then from all the way to like slick studios and put the RPO on it, and like, think, yes, let's get that tabla player in, or
yeah,
whatever. And yeah,
yeah. I
so,
think
but
that's
that was
amazing.
that end of it.
Good. And
Yeah,
what was it like for you to officially start working on your first album? Was it a very scary
it
feeling?
was so
Exciting?
exciting.
Yeah.
It was so exciting. I don't really think we thought about it, because we were so in it, and just thinking there was loads of stuff going on, and loads of like preparation for coming out.
Yeah.
It was just really exciting times. We were all like really young, so we were just going along with the flow.
Yeah. And
So
that first album was Born, wasn't it? The first album that you brought out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple of things on it that we were like, oh, the record, because we were with Decca and Universal, and there were like 2 or 3 tracks that they really wanted on, and all that. There was all that going on as well.
Hmm.
So, I'd say there was like about 3 tracks that we were like, what? But we kind of
Really?
went along with it. We went, but we were all like really chilled about everything. Well, yeah, okay, if you think it's a good idea, okay, and we're going to do this and that. I love that, and I love that, and
Hmm.
but that,
But that,
yeah. So,
yeah.
but funnily, it's always those ones that people really like the most. You know
There
what I
we
mean? That
go.
that classic cliche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like looking at it back, obviously, like you said, they're kind of cliche, but they're the biggest ones. I mean, do you kind of wish sometimes that you changed any of the tracks on the album now that you're more experienced, or are you really happy with how it came
There
out in the
are
end?
some things. There are some things, but I don't regret anything. And there's always, if you really want to do it, you can do other things. You could
Yeah.
do it another time.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a couple of. There was one track. I'm being really honest here, and I
That's
probably
good.
shouldn't be.
Okay, okay, okay. I can cut it out if I
There's-
need to.
there was one track. There was one track which they made us do in America, and they were like, the American record company were like, this is really good for the US market, and
Yeah.
all that. And we had to do this disco track. And of all, I love, there's so much amazing disco tracks you could do.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all of them, and then they were like, we really think you should do this track called Fly Robin Fly
Uh-huh.
by, I don't know, it's a Silver Connection or something like that. And of all, you could have done something really cool.
Yeah.
And instead we had to record this, and it was for the American release of the album, and it was going to go and all that. Yeah, that was painful, and we had to perform it, and we did some of the vocals on it, and it was like,
Really?
oh,
God.
it's out there somewhere if you want to find it. But
I'll try and
yeah,
find it then.
that's one of the ones that makes me wince a little.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I
did
shouldn't
that?
be saying this.
No, that's all right. It's happened now. It's part of the experience, isn't it? But
That was a long time ago.
it was a long time ago. But
Yeah.
that album for me, though, I remember just listening to it forever. Like the whole album when I was young was,
Really?
yeah, it was amazing. It was so
But it's
good.
weird because it went to different places in the world, and there's like things that people might find a bit naff here, but they might love in, different part of the world. Like I think there was one, we were like #1 in Turkey for 2 months solid or
Wow.
something like that. You just don't know, like people pick up on different flavors and things, and it's like, it was a
Yeah.
worldwide thing.
It was because I wanted to ask you about that actually as well. That you obviously the album went #1, literally almost pretty much everywhere, but then you got banned apparently for not being classical enough. I mean, what happened? Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me about that. Like that whole situation there.
Yeah,
Then,
that was weird. I'm not sure if that was real, or if it wasn't real, that was amazing marketing.
yeah,
But if it was real, maybe it was real. So yeah, we were deemed not classical enough to
yeah,
be in the classical charts. And then I remember it being on the news at 10, and Trevor McDonald, like thinking, why are you talking about this? It was like news at 10, dong, and have been banned from the classical charts. So that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous
Yeah,
because obviously I saw like obviously interviews with like I remember that the interviews had years ago, and I kind of recapped them recently about obviously people saying it's not classical enough, you shouldn't like look this way or do it that way. I mean, you just like destroyed the charts with your album, and they're saying you shouldn't do it that way. I mean, how the hell did that make you feel? Like
yeah.
thinking, I was thinking, what the hell do I need to do in order to make you happy?
Well, to be honest, we were so busy. We were like flying from like different countries like every day and doing loads of like we'd do like we were like having 22-hour day, like ridiculous long day. We were so tired that when all that came, we were just looked at it like, and we're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But, yeah, because when like so I used to think, what does it all mean, but I
Yeah,
suppose at that time there was less. Like now there's so much more music that's crossing over each other and overlapping, and there's all different places for that music now, and like 20 years ago there wasn't, maybe.
yeah,
And they didn't know what to do with it, but now when you see the classical charts, you see there's like if you look at the
Dua Lipa,
iTunes
yeah,
classical chart, Dua Lipa's in there, and Ed
yeah,
Sheeran,
sure,
and all sorts of things. It's all,
yeah.
it's all crossed over.
Of course it is. And obviously I know it is, but do you feel like it's down to you and your group for changing perceptions of classical music now and just music in general, the crossover kind of feel? Do you
I
think that's down
don't,
to
I, I wouldn't say it was down to us. I think there was things going on before us in all different decades of people doing similar things, but it's just whether things get noticed, and I don't know. It's always evolving. Music's always changing, but there's always a place for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Of course there is. And
What really annoyed me was people trying to put it in a box all the time, because like, say, like on our album we'd have like something that was quite dancey, and then something that was a bit folky and all that. It's just really difficult to categorize it.
of course, I mean, so many amazing things to it, and like you said, it was good marketing for you, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah, it did loads.
Low,
It
but
really helped.
amazing. And you talk about the 22-hour days, like going on from country to country on a daily basis. I mean, how the hell how did you deal with that personally? Because that's exhausting, but
I don't know. It was a blur. We were in the eye of the storm. I mean, it was amazing to be doing
yeah,
all that, but yeah, we were just gone,
yeah.
completely gone.
No,
You
I can
know,
imagine. And you said it's a blur. I mean, did you like what were the kind of best memories at that kind of time when you first started going on tour to these countries?
there's so many memories.
I know, I can
Like,
imagine.
yeah. I mean, I think I remember things like just the way people reacted. You
Mm,
know, and like having like just like having people. You know, just having loads of fans turning up, or do you know what I mean, and like
mm,
the response from an audience, but when it goes to a different scale of, you know, and then you see it getting bigger and bigger, and then just thinking, wow,
yeah.
wow, you know, it was amazing. And just but I remember those things, just looking out to a huge audience,
Mm.
and just thinking, holy moly, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, what's that feeling like when you go to different countries and people know exactly who you are? I mean, that must be such a surreal feeling.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird, you know, and then it was, but I didn't really think about those sort of things. I didn't. Part of me felt like I didn't dare, like, think, you know, oh, people, you know, wouldn't know who I was, you know. I had that sort of things like, oh, why would why would you like me?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just being, yeah, it's unreal.
Mm.
But I didn't think about those things really. I was just thinking about what I had to do, and, you know,
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean,
being there for like playing, and, you know, like, you know what I mean, having to switch on your performance head, and, you know,
yeah. I mean,
rather than thinking like, people know who I am and all
yeah.
that, because that's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's unreal. I mean, like also, like I said earlier, I grew up watching you, like listening to you, and watching it, and just the opportunity now to talk to you now about the whole thing is it's unreal to me as well now. So, but
Oh, it was a long while ago. I mean, now we're all sort of like, you know, a lot older.
no, but he's still like stay. We look the same age. They still look so youthful.
So, because now we've all got like, there's loads of
And
kids. We've been through a breeding period where, you
breathing.
know, there's just like loads of kids popped out and stuff like that. One of the girls just had a baby not so long ago.
Oh,
Um,
congratulations!
yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, it's really hectic. So, but we used to take kids on tour as well and all that stuff. So,
yeah. I want to ask you about that actually. Like,
but I'm
now
not.
being a mother, like, what's it like taking your kids now on tour with you?
Well, when
Or
they were
before? Yeah,
tiny,
yeah.
I took my son with me. It's really hard work.
Mm.
You know, and you're thinking like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember like getting off stage, and I shouldn't. This is probably not what you want to hear. Like getting off stage and
Do
like
whatever you want.
immediately breastfeeding.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like having just like going da, da, da,
yeah.
doing your thing, strutting your stuff, and then like there's someone backstage with your baby, and then it's like,
What?
you know.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's
so
like
this,
those things, but it had to be done. But it was
of
so
course.
hard work, and it was so exhausting.
No, of course, because that's why I wanted to kind of bring these sort of things up because people don't realize like the things that go on behind the scenes, do they? They kind of just see
Yeah,
the stage, the performance, like you turning up, doing amazing performance, and then leaving, and then they think that's all you do, but they don't see that
yeah,
these kind of things, like you just mentioned about you and your son, there was a
the
baby, and
logistics.
the logistics
Yeah.
exactly, and I mean that must like obviously it was difficult before, but you said how difficult it was being a performer and a mother at the same time. I mean, how did you kind of find it at first, doing that kind of transition from musician, performer, composer,
Well, you just
producer?
do it, really. You
Yeah,
just do it. If you want to do it, you'll do it. Do you know what I mean? So
definitely.
you'll make it work. And I think the thing is, we've all got a lot of energy. Maybe that's like our, do you know what I mean? Like there's
Mm.
we seem to have a lot of energy to be able to do things and cope with things. And so maybe that all helps. And it's just, if you want to, and the performing things, that it's all like that's what we love, is doing concerts and things like that. So you just make it work. And if you can't do it, there has been times when someone's not been able to do it, or so because of that. But we just adapt and keep, just reset and then
Mm.
go and then reset again, and then
Yeah.
but I wouldn't take my son on tour with me now.
Oh,
I'd be
really?
like, you're staying at home with your father. Yeah.
I mean, how would?
Especially after lockdown.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah. You're staying here.
Yeah.
How old is your son now?
He's 8.
Oh, he's 8
Yeah.
now. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And is he into music as
Yeah.
well, or what's he into at the moment?
Yeah, he's all into like Marshmallow and that sort of thing. He's all into like DJs and
Oh, okay.
anything that sounds like
Yeah.
So, but it makes me feel old because it's like you just hear stuff and it's all just going
Yeah. The
all that.
dubstep.
Yeah, and I'm trying to play. He hates me if I play anything classical. He's like, I played some Bach or something, and he was like, "Well, that's not a very nice tune, is it?"
That's a real tune, but would
Yeah,
you?
I was like, "You've got no idea."
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So, but I've done some tracks with him.
I was going to ask
So,
actually. Yeah, what's that
yeah,
been like? Do you like a son and mother kind of
it's
combination of that,
funny.
what he does with your world now? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, funny. He's like, because you think, God, it's a whole new world, and there's a whole new fresh. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
You like look at him and think, God, you're fresh. You're
yeah,
so fresh. You know what I mean? Like let the children through. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Good. You're
they
good.
have.
You're a composer and producer yourself. So what's it like being for you, like going from when you started to now? Because has it been like or have you both? It's been such a quick change, hasn't it? Such a kind of really quick, like a really quick process. What's it been like for you now, going from what it was like before to now, in terms of like things like software
I
to
don't know.
making
You just don't really think about anything like that. You just kind of, you just do. You just go to like think, oh yeah, I'll have a go at doing that, and I'll try and do this. I might try, and then you just try and do, and it happens, and like, oh good, I'm pleased with that. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think don't think about it too much. Just get on with it. And,
true.
do you know what I mean?
Good. And is that
Yeah.
in that kind of process? Do you kind of bring that to when you create your work with Bond and other projects, or do you have a kind of set way in terms of how you work?
There's no set way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Mm.
like whatever way it comes. So, I actually like writing stuff on my own, but then we'll write all together, which is often, which can be a bit harder because you've got to delegate and sometimes you've got to like, do you know what I mean? You've got to let things have everyone's got their bit to throw in, then you've got to take it on board and all that.
Yeah.
But if you're on your own, you can just go
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Can I wanted to ask you, like, kind of how you worked as well, like how you collaborated with the group as well, because like you, I like to
yeah,
work by
we
myself.
just thrash it out.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
like the stuff we just wrote, we're just in a studio and we were just like trying stuff out, and
Mm.
throwing things at throwing musical ideas at each
Yeah,
other, not
definitely.
throwing
Yeah,
things.
just throwing things.
Yeah.
But what's how difficult has it been at times though to kind of delegate and choose which ideas would work best?
Yeah, well, it can be hard because there's like four heads,
Yeah.
so it's about give and take, and so we kind of run it like a democracy.
Hmm.
So if there's a, because if there's an issue, we kind of like vote on it,
Hmm.
and then, do you know what I mean? So it's fair, yeah.
Yeah,
But sometimes, like, I might not I think, oh, I'm not sure, but the others might be, oh, I really like it, and and then we'll just, it's the democracy that
yeah.
wins.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier,
Otherwise, I don't know how you'd get through.
of course, of
I don't
course.
know how you'd move forward otherwise without
Hmm.
sort of tearing each other's hair out.
There we go. But
But
it's worked, hasn't
that's
it?
how we've stayed together. I
Mm.
think that's helped us to stay, because it's been 20 years now. So,
Yeah,
and people, it's really hard, especially like with bands, people fall out, and then, so, but
of
we've managed
course.
to not have that by just the way we work together, and yeah,
Definitely, because obviously,
everything's covered.
there you go. 'Cause you said 20 years later, 56 platinum albums sold and 15 gold, 4 million albums sold, like more than obviously. I mean, obviously it has worked. I mean, like those numbers are just crazy. I mean, when you say that's everyone's dreams to sell their own music, obviously, but when you've done it yourself, you
Yeah,
sold over 4 million copies of your album. I mean, how? Like, I'm lost for words. I mean, how does that make you feel? Like,
I
are
don't
you
know.
shocked or like you excited, ecstatic? Like, how's that
Well,
make
it's
you feel?
weird because you just you do your thing, and then you move on to the next one, and then you move on. So you keep moving. So the last thing you did was and then you think you've done it, and then you keep moving on. So that seems like ages ago. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's always amazing. I feel so grateful and lucky. You
yeah.
know.
And like you just said, you kind of moved on from project to project to project. At any point, did you did they kind of fame and sales and those sort of things kind of get to you in a way, or were you so busy they didn't have time to think about these kind of things? You had to move on to the next thing.
Um, well, it's not about being so busy. No, they didn't really get to me at all, because I think there's a sort of self-deprecating thing in me where I think, oh no, they wouldn't be interested in me anyway. And then you just you do your thing, and and
Mm.
then it's a bonus if anyone likes it. Yeah.
But
So,
it
but
honestly, yeah, it's honestly it's
it's not.
incredible.
It's always about the music, really. As a
Of course,
musician and all that, you're thinking about the music, really, and those other things that come with it are just sort of byproducts of things, but
yeah.
they're never in the forefront of your own personal thoughts.
Hmm.
And I think if they are, like, if you're thinking more worried about that, then um, yeah, maybe you should be like into something else. So you're
Mm.
not thinking about the music. Maybe you should just be a TikTok star or something like
Well, there
that,
we go.
If you're
Bonding
just
tick.
thinking about me, everyone's thinking about me, then, where's the music gone?
I know. I mean,
Yeah.
because TikTok's taken over now, hasn't it? I mean, I can't get into it. For me, I just find TikTok really
I haven't
cringy.
got TikTok.
I haven't either. I got off the
Yeah.
Orchestra, but I never
I find
use
it
it.
really cringy.
Yeah, I hate
Oh,
it.
really?
I got off the
Oh,
Orchestra,
you
but
should get them on TikTok.
I know I should really like, but I just find it so cringy because all these like dance routines and the rest of it, thinking, oh, that's just so cringe.
Oh, it's
But
so embarrassing. Even my 8-year-old's so embarrassed by it. If I do, like, and that Drake track, that, like that. Is
oh
that
God!
blatant? No.
Don't mention
Oh,
that to me, gay. I hate it.
horrible.
And obviously, me being
Yeah.
a teacher as well, you get all these kids that doing that at school as well, thinking, "Oh, I can't
Ugh.
get away from it,
And
can
it's
I?"
there's a smugness to all those dance routines where they're just
Yeah,
like they're not doing the full move. It's like a micro move, and like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I got stuck. I got stuck. I got stuck on my head now again. That dance move now. I got stuck on my head.
Oh
Oh
no.
no! But
So if
have
I want to get my son moving
mhm.
anywhere, and it's like, like going, come on, that I
Yeah.
start doing stuff like that, and it's
Just
like, oh, I'm
like
coming, I'm coming, I'm coming.
there
Yeah.
we go.
If it's in public, yeah,
Oh,
just stop.
just stop, please. But have you thought about doing anything like that within Bond or yourself, using
What?
social media, like TikTok or Instagram or like anything? Obviously, I
Yeah,
know you already are,
rubbish
but
on. I'll be honest with you, we seem to be a bit rubbish on social media. But I don't think I could do the TikTok thing. But
No,
maybe I should.
don't blame you
It's
at
too
all.
embarrassing.
I don't blame you. But
It's
going
a
back
lot
to,
of work to put in.
tell me about it. It really is a lot of work, and we don't need it. But
No, let's move on.
let's move on now. But going back to kind of your work, your albums, singles, and so forth. Has there been any kind of personal favorites of yours that you've worked on and put out there in the world so far?
Um, oh, there's something we've done. The recent stuff we've done, and there's a couple of tracks that we've not released yet. That we did with David Arnold, the film
David
composer.
Arnold, amazing,
and they're amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like epic, like raw.
Yeah.
They're like, I am Thor.
That's incredible.
So I really love those. So I'm looking forward to getting that out at some point. We're just trying to work out the best route for it.
Best way.
Yeah, I like all the things we've done because they're all so different. There's lots of different things, and yeah.
That's amazing. I met David Arnold actually at the Algar Rooms at the Royal Albert Hall for a the talks they do there.
Oh, one of those talks, yeah.
Yeah, I met him there. I met who else did I meet there? Harry Gregson, not Harry Gregson Williams. A couple of big movie composers, and for you to have the chance to work with him as well must have been incredible. What was that experience like to work with David Arnold?
We've done lots. Amazing. He's brilliant. He's so but he's cool to work with. He's but these tracks we did, they're just not anything like. They're nothing like other stuff that we've done. So yeah, so very lucky in that respect. And we also did some stuff that hasn't been released with Michael Giacchino in Los Angeles. So and there's some stuff there this is all stuff that's not out, it hasn't come out yet. And that's really different to what we've done.
That's incredible.
So maybe at some point we'll
Would you ever do obviously two big film composers? I mean, would you ever kind of release like a film-esque type album for the future, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, because
I'd love to do.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Because obviously
it would be amazing.
It will, because obviously your music is epic in places. Well, that'd be so perfect, but. Like obviously your music's already featured in films like Johnny English and Triple X, those sort of films. I mean, when you hear your music on like major films and sporting events and those sort of things, like is it like a very surreal feeling for you? Like what's that kind of moment
it's
like?
Lovely.
Yeah.
It's nice. He's nice.
He's nice. It's nice.
He's nice. Yeah, it's always good because our stuff used to get used like in loads of. It's always used like like with the ice skating and gymnastics and stuff like all like random tracks and all that. Yeah, and or you hear it. Sometimes I've heard things at the football and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very satisfying.
You can imagine. I mean, like, is it? Do you get the same feeling every time you hear it, or do they get to the point thinking, "Oh, not that track again," or anything like that?
No, I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised. Like, oh, look, it's on there.
What was the first event that you remember hearing your music on? Like, obviously, it's featured so many places. I mean, what was the first one that you think, oh, that's our track? That's our music?
I don't know. There's been a few things. The fact this is not cheery at all. I remember on Sky News they used some of our music. And we were like gutted because it was when 9/11 happened.
Oh wow!
And they used our music, and we were like, oh. But that's always stuck in my brain.
I can imagine.
But,
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm not sure. So, but it's always a good feeling when someone's using your music like that, or if it gets used in a TV show or a film or something.
Yeah. And
more, please.
Yeah, more. Bloody hell, more. Give me more. But talk about like those sort of places. It's like as well, like obviously performed at the Royal Albert Hall and Sydney Opera House as well. I mean, and other major Olympics as well. I mean, what's it like to perform like in sold out places? Like, what's it like to sell out arenas like these sort of places? Is that
what's so exciting? It's really exciting. It's like it's a real you know, so it gives you a real high.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always think, I can't believe it. They're watching me and, you know, doing my, you know, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Because
always just, yeah, it's just, I just always can't believe it and think, wow,
yeah.
this is amazing. But it does feed you with something. It's like you know, it's an amazing feeling
It is, isn't it? It's
that
like
you
a
just want to keep. It's like a
yeah.
drug. You just want
Drug.
to keep
Yeah.
recreating that feeling.
Of course.
So, but also you still get the same feeling with, you know, like an intimate. We played. Our last gig was at the Union Chapel
I saw in
in
January. Yeah.
Islington, and that's
Mm.
not a big. That's not a big venue, but you know that was really lovely to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, you
Did
still
you?
get those feelings.
No, of course. Like, because you sold out these amazing venues, Royal Albert Hall, Sydney Opera House, and other major venues, did you, after a while, kind of miss the smaller places that you performed at, the more intimate ones, or did you want to keep going, like you said earlier, about pursuing those kind of bigger venues and getting more events?
Um, yeah, well, I do like playing in like massive venue, like
Yeah,
massive stages, and it's more scary when you're in a more intimate
yeah,
one because people are sort of closer and they can, you know, it's you can't. But when you're in a, I mean, I do love a big stage and
yeah.
just getting all over it and all that sort of thing.
mm,
So, but there is something. I like all of it. There's no, you know,
yeah.
I
Do you have
just
any?
love it
No,
all.
I don't blame you at all. I mean, do you have any personal favourite ones that you performed at? Any venues? Any personal favourites?
Any venues?
Mm,
Well, the Albert Hall's always good, and
yeah.
that's where we did our first ever gig
I
in
saw
Bond.
that.
So
Yeah.
that's
So
always got like a special, you know, um, yeah, that was really scary.
yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause that's been my dream venue to perform at. I mean, what was it like for you that your first sort of big performance? Like the Royal Albert Hall must have been so scary to perform there.
yeah, it was scary. It was, you know, and it was full, and but it was really exciting. So,
Yeah.
but before that, you know, I've played in I've played in some real dives, and I've played in some amazing places. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
what
I
was it?
appreciate all of them.
Of course. What was it like? What was that feeling when you got the confirmation to perform at the Royal Albert Hall? Say later on in life you would have performed there. What was your initial feeling? Were you over the moon when you got that call to say you're performing there soon?
Yeah, that was in a time when we were really busy. We flew in, I remember, on the day of the gig. We landed at like 5. Like we had this flight at like 4 in the morning or something, and then we got there, and we were all so tired. We slept with They put mattresses down for us at the Albert Hall
Oh, really?
so we could sleep. Yeah, we were too gone to really know. You know, it was a lot of pressure.
Of
But then
course.
when you're young, you've got the balls of youth. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like,
yeah.
talk about that pressure though. I mean, how did you deal with it? How do you deal with it now? Like, did you get really great advice as you were growing up and like going through your career with Bond, or did you kind of have to learn as you were going along?
I think you learn as you go along, and also as you're like we all went to music college and all that sort of thing, and you know there's lots of things that you take on. You know, even just doing all the things at college and the pressure. You know, you have to, you know, perform and be critiqued, and if you can get through all of these things,
Hmm.
you know, like when you see people on the X Factor or whatever, and they're just like crumbling
Yeah.
from you know, if you it's like you've gone through all those things
Hmm.
to come out the other side, that you can take all this, you know how to deal with it, you know how to handle it, you know how to cope with yourself, or you learn ways of coping with things, coping with nerves. There's all like techniques. I remember my teacher teaching me techniques of how to deal with on stage nerves and all
Hmm.
that sort of thing, which you use and implement, you know. So, but now I'm at my old stage. I'm more ripened to sort of be, you know, doing that.
Yeah. And you said about your teacher, Colin, about how to deal with on that stage presence. Like, has that stuck with you your whole career? Do you feel?
What with how to cope with being nervous, and
Yeah.
I think just experience as well, like just
Mhm.
doing it and growing all the time.
Yeah.
Then do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I still, but getting nervous, like I still get nervous. Um, I never, I'm never not nervous because you want it to be, you know. But then you
Perfect.
put in all things to cope with that. You know, you rehearse a lot, you practice, make sure there's no room for error and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So
Yeah.
make sure you're armed when you go out there.
Of course. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I talk about the rehearsals before a performance, say, how long did you have to rehearse before an event? Because you were so busy at the time, and now, like, how much time did you get to rehearse before an event?
Um,
Did you have like the
well, it
benefit?
depends what we do. We book in because now we're all like now
Mm-hmm.
we I guess we kind of binge rehearse.
Yeah.
So because we've got such busy lives, so we just have to book it all in and get your heads down and just
Mm-hmm.
get it done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Till it's done.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Do you feel like over the years the rehearsals have become more efficient and better, or do you still find that you have to rehearse the kind of same sort of ways when you all come together?
Yeah, well, we always rehearse because we don't want to waste any time. So
Yeah.
it's very um it's very efficient. So we have all individual. We have come to the rehearsal
Mm.
fully loaded. So
Yeah.
you're not learning, because there's a lot to get together between you. So it's unforgivable to come to a rehearsal not knowing what you're supposed to be doing on your individual. Do you know what I mean? There's so
Mm-hmm.
many notes and all that. So at the group rehearsal, you don't want to be wasting it for someone going, oh, hang on, I've just got to learn my part.
Yeah. No.
Be like,
Yeah.
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 But they're all things that we do that naturally,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
kind of goes without saying.
Of course it does. And I've gone before this. You mentioned about nerves as well. I mean, what kind of events were you most nervous about performing at? Because you've had so many amazing events. Which ones stick out to you as being your most sort of nerve-wracking performances that you've had to do?
Um, I don't know. There's things like the first gig was really net. That first gig when it
Mm.
was the unknown.
Yeah.
But I don't know really. Depends if you have to do any. It's the comfort zone is when if all we have to do is play our own music,
Mm-hmm.
then that's like a comfort zone. It's
Yeah.
when you have to do like new things, or if you have to play, if you're in a different country and you want to play a song of theirs, that's but that might be a different style of playing or something, and it's something unknown. That's when you start thinking, oh God, you know.
Yeah.
So,
And
but then you just got to practice it and nail it and get it down, and
mm-hmm.
so that that you can do it.
Yeah. And obviously you perform around the whole world. Do you feel like the same tracks garner the same reaction from people, or do you feel like different tracks that you weren't really expecting get a better reaction than other tracks when you go to different countries?
Yeah, different nations react in different ways. Like the South Americans are always amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just like love, passion. It's like party. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then like in Asia, like people are more polite. Like in Korea, like all the audience have balloons, and they don't. No one moves, but they all like nod the balloons in the same, all at the same time. It's
Mhm.
just weird. They're very like polite.
Yeah.
um yeah, but it's always nice to see people reacting. What used to terrify me was I remember in Japan you'd see some like kind of like old ladies thinking, in a sort of concert hall, but they'd be sat in front of the PA
Hmm.
and then thinking like, oh no, they think
Yeah.
they're getting something else, and then it's all going all that.
Yeah.
So but it's good to see them, like people get off their seats and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure. And
that's always feels good, and that makes me sort of react more with them and all that
Of
sort of thing.
course. I mean, you must love that feeling when they, like you said, they get off their seats and dancing with you as well. Must be the best feeling ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is. That you've that someone's moved, or you've got them excited in a way that would make them. Because it's weird, because it's a string quartet. I think some people think that they would go, you know, to a certain type of show, but
Hmm.
then there's all different flavors, and there's like beats and climaxes
Yeah.
and all that sort of thing. So you just got to go with it. It's all music. There's no
Of
set
course. Of
rules,
course.
is there?
No rules at
So.
all. Do you have any? Do you have any personal favorite countries or places that you've been to that you performed at? Think, oh, I can't wait to go back to there again to perform.
Oh, just all of it really. I've really enjoyed everywhere.
Mm,
You know, from but I really like performing in Asia and South America.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and I remember did a gig in the House of Blues in New
Oh,
Orleans.
I want to
That
find
was
out about
mad.
that. Yeah,
Love to go back there.
tell me
Yeah.
about that. Because I love the House of Blues. I mean, what was that like for you?
We did a House of Blues tour in
Mhm.
America. So we did all the House of Blues up and down the country.
Wow.
But the New Orleans one was like,
Oh, I
you
can
know,
imagine.
crazy voodoo vibes. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how many are there in America now? I didn't realize there's more
I
than
don't
one.
know. They're enough to tour.
I thought it was like
No,
one
it's
main
like
venue. You know?
Chicago, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. We did something.
Ah,
Florida, California. Yeah.
well,
Quite a few.
oh, fair enough. I didn't realize. I thought it was like literally one
Yeah.
main House of Blues in that. But has it
No,
been
they've
any?
turned it into a franchise,
Oh, there we go.
obviously.
Then. Okay. Like
Yeah.
when you kind of step into these venues, like House of Blues, for instance, does it kind of hit you in a way, thinking, I can't believe I'm actually playing here now? Like, does it kind of?
Yeah, because I definitely, especially with places like that, because I thought it was all like things that were related to blues and stuff like
Mm,
that. I remember in somewhere we supported like Boys to Men or something.
oh
And it
wow.
was like, this is a really weird combo, but just let's go with it.
Oh, but
Yeah.
what was that like? 'Cause I know you've performed with so many people, which want to get to in a minute, actually. But what was that Boys to Men thing like? The performance?
We didn't really get to see them
Oh, okay.
because they were gone while
Yeah.
we were, but it was just weird because it was like one of the audience. What I don't know what's going on. That was one of those moments. What's happening?
I know.
Yeah.
Oh man, but like, talking about these artists, like so many we could talk about, but I'd love to find out more about your performance with Pavarotti though, as well, because
Oh yeah, that was amazing
yeah, because obviously I've
because
grown
he
up listening.
really was the maestro.
Mm,
You know.
of course.
So, and he had a real presence. And can you imagine what is like he came to the stage on a golf buggy. He doesn't
Yeah,
walk anywhere, and then you don't speak to him, he speaks to you. So like, do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so but it was an incredible honor that we got to perform with him, that we were allowed to perform with him, and there was like amazing people there. And I just remember him, they were like saying, the maestro will speak to you now. And then we're on stage at the sound check, hello, and I remember him squeezing lemons, like going phenomenal, phenomenal, like that. And that was it. And then, okay, you can go now, go, go, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like what a thing, but what a great experience.
Oh my
We
God, can
did
imagine.
a piece called Caruso with him.
Mm.
And yeah, and on that gig there was like Barry White,
Yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Jones, George Benson, and yeah, I can't remember who else. These were all the other people doing duets with him. So we were absolutely terrified. That was a time we were terrified.
No, I can imagine. I remember that performance actually. That was incredible as
And then there
well.
was loads of sound problems during the performance.
Or what
So
was there?
that's what makes it terrifying, like because you couldn't hear yourself and all those things, and like, oh, it's gone,
Oh
it's gone.
Jesus, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's shit.
yeah. So like having to deal with all that. So if you look at that performance, that's what was happening to all of us.
Wow. I mean,
during,
I can remember that
yeah, and
performance
it was
so well.
gutting.
Yeah.
And then we came off thinking, oh, that was amazing, but oh no, what if it's,
Yeah.
you know, like, yeah.
Oh, I mean,
So
how do you deal with those kind of like last minute technical issues? Like you said, you couldn't hear yourself. I mean, how do you deal with that? Must be so difficult.
yeah, so but I mean, with your sound guys, we have such a good relationship with, you know, the people that are working around you,
Hmm.
that they know there's little things that you do that they know what you mean, so you're not
Yeah.
like on stage going, I can't hear myself. You've done
Yeah.
none of that. Do you know what I mean? It's just a little thing, and they know, like, oh, turn up the cello, or,
Yeah.
you know, can't hear monitors, or yeah. But it gets
Perfect.
like that
Yeah.
after, when you've been doing it for so long.
So long, definitely. And for you, do you feel like that's one of your highlights of your career, that particular performance you get with Pavarotti and all the other major stars as well?
um Yeah, I guess so. It was I think, just I just feel so grateful that I've been able. Every time I do something, I think I feel so grateful that I was able, and to have been part of that.
Hmm.
So, like, each one that goes on time after time, I think, God, I'm so great. Thank you. I'm so
Yeah.
thankful.
Can
Yeah.
imagine. Do you ever get
So,
starstruck? Do you ever get starstruck yourself when you get to work with and talk with these such amazing artists?
um, so where I just kind of talk to them, really.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Maybe, yeah, I mean, you are like, oh my God, you know, like, can't believe I'm talking to blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
I just like to talk to people, you know, as a as I would anyone else,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that always helps.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, it's amazing because you perform there as well, like Times Square as well, the Olympics as well. But what was the Olympics like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Olympics was also
Uh-huh.
amazing, amazing. So yeah, there was loads going on in that, and we had to, like, walk up, because they tell you what to wear on the
Okay.
Olympics.
Yeah.
So because you, so we had all these, because you're so far away,
Hmm.
everything had to be bigger. So they made us wear these massive wigs.
Really?
Um, yeah, it was all really alien, and we had to wear all these, like, oh, I don't know, it was stuff that we wouldn't choose to wear. And I remember, it was a time my son was 8 months old at the time, and
Hmm.
I just remember my having huge milk boobs that got bigger by the performance, and by the performance it was crazy. So I was like, that's what I was thinking about. But then you're
Yeah.
like, in this spectacle of awesomeness,
Yeah.
it was. I'm so pleased that I got to be part of that.
No, I can
Yeah,
imagine. Like, how was
and
it?
we
So,
did that with Russell Brand. That was
yeah, I
cool
was about to say,
as
yeah.
well.
I mean, what was the organization like for the Olympics? Was it like a really crazy schedule,
Oh, it
or
was just full on, yeah. Well,
was it?
because they're managing so much stuff. It's immense, you know.
Yeah,
Everything's got to run
y-
on time and all
of
that.
course. It must have been like you just said, like
Yeah,
must be like bang on for everything. Just like this get that position, go perform.
yeah. And there's
Uh,
loads of technical things that never happened, and there's rehearsals, and then, like, what, we've got to leave it. We've got to move on,
yeah,
and all that. But
yeah. Like,
yeah, that
did you?
was also a lucky experience to be part of that.
Yeah, did you have like people in your ears saying, "Okay, we've got to move on now. Like, move, go to the next thing," or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah?
yeah, yeah. All of that. Okay, now move, go now. You have to
Yeah.
walk on and all that, and it's all.
I mean, how
Yeah, that was a real adrenaline fueled performance.
I can imagine. Like, was that kind of one of the more difficult things you've had to do because there's so much going on, or do you feel like other ones were
No,
kind
no,
of
I
on
think
par?
no, because it's just one song, so, like,
Oh, just the
you
one.
know.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess the hardest things is doing, like, like, just doing one song here and there with other, one-off events. They're all fine. It's like, it's when you're putting on a full show that you've
Hmm.
got. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got,
Yeah.
like, it's like over 90 minutes. I've got to do this. I've got to remember that. Yeah, all that
Yeah.
sort of thing. But
Yeah. And
I'm not complaining.
oh, good. No, as well. Like, I don't think anyone would as well, because you've also performed in the pyramids as well, the pyramids of Giza as well.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how
Well,
was
that was
that?
nice.
Yeah.
That was amazing because the pyramids were behind the stage and it was all lit up, you know.
Wow. I mean, you mu-
Yeah.
that's like, it's blown my mind as well. Like doing the Olympics, and then the pyramids as well. Was that?
Thinking, whoa, what setting?
Yeah. What a setting! Like, was that just a one song as well, or was that a whole kind of longer
No, that was a
performance?
whole show. I
Okay.
think we've done it a couple of times there.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah.
amazing. I mean, I could go on forever, like, and talk about everything with you, but I think like I'm lost, but oh, I'm just blown away. But when you initially going back to when you actually initially started Bond as well, did you know back then that I would reach the heights that I would, or were you just happy to kind of start the
No.
group and go along with the ride, really?
Yeah, I was thinking I've got nothing to lose. Let's go
Yeah.
with it. Let's go with all the flows. Let's do everything. Let's try everything. Yeah, I'd
Mm,
never dreamed that I would be able to. And I never dreamed that 20 years later that we'd still be together. I mean, we're not like we were back
mm.
then, but we're still doing stuff, you know. The last thing we released during the lockdown went to #1 in the classical charts. And,
Wow.
like, it's amazing. You think 20 years on, I thought we'd be we'd have been dead long ago, but you know, we're still able to do stuff, and we still want to do stuff.
That's
So
brilliant.
hopefully when I mean, unfortunately, all our live stuff's just like everyone else is, postponed. But hopefully we'll get back to that, to a point where we can start doing them all again.
Of
And
course.
you know,
And yeah, I just can't wait for that as well. And I can't wait to hear the new
yeah, because
tracks
there's
about it
lots of
coming
new
out.
stuff.
And now I can't wait to hear all of that. I cannot wait to hear all of that. But I'm just so grateful. And I just want to say thank you as well for taking the time to sit down with me today and just chat. It's been so lovely to talk with you.
Thanks for
Honestly,
listening to my twaddle.
no, I loved it because I just love to listen and learn from people and hear their stories. It's been really inspirational to listen to you and just to
Oh,
talk to one of my musical heroes in life. So once again, thank you so
thank
much for
you.
my pleasure. And thank you so much for inspiring me as well to carry on in music as well and give me these amazing memories. So thank you again.
Oh, thank
It's my
you so
pleasure.
much.
It's my pleasure. But how you said you're not the best on social media, but how can people find you
What on so
on social
well,
media? Yeah.
there's the Bond Quartet on all the different things, or
Hmm.
Gay-Yee Westerhoff. I'm normally on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm absolutely horrific on Twitter. I never look at Twitter.
Hmm.
Yep, you'll find me there.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
you won't see me on TikTok going,
I don't.
doing some little.
Just when I forgot about the tune as well.
Oh no, it's just
No,
come
it's
back.
fine. Don't worry, it's
Come back.
fine. Okay, once again, thank you so much for being part
You
of the
should do
episode.
that with a hip hop orchestra.
No, we should actually all of us
Thank
we get back
you.
together again. We'll get back together. We'll do that, but just for you. I'll send you the video after. Oh, but
Oh
that's the
God.
end of
Thank you
episode.
for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you again, and that's the end of episode 40. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.